Hi everyone, it's Mr. Rosen here again. Today I've got a simple little video showing you how to factor simple trinomials. So what a simple trinomial is I'll give you an example here. So let's say I've got x squared plus 9x plus 14. This is a trinomial because it has three terms in this, so it's a polynomial with three terms. And the reason it's a simple one is because the first one has just x squared. So right here, because this is only x squared, this makes it simple. Like if it was 3x squared, for example, there was a 3 in front, that is not a simple trinomial. So in this case, we've got an invisible 1 here that's not written. So because it's not written, we're going to call that a simple trinomial, and there's a very easy way of factoring that style. So let me show you how to do it in the first example, how I'm going to factor this thing. So I'm just going to rewrite it again. So x squared plus 9x plus 14. So the way that I typically factor something like this is I use what's called the man method. So I write M, A, N on the side over here. Now what this stands for is multiply, add, and numbers. It's basically the same style that other people have used. I've seen this called PSF before, which is product sum factor. But I just find that calling it man is just easy to remember. So with a lot of my students, I just call it the man method, and they seem to remember what this is. So let me show you how it works for this example. So I'm just going to write MAN again. And what I need to do is the M is going to be the end number of my trinomial, which is 14 in this case. So I'm going to write 14 here. The A, the add, is going to be the middle number, which is positive 9. So I'm going to write a 9 here. So the way this works is I need two numbers. They're going to multiply to 14 and add to 9. So you got to think about that. What two numbers multiply to 14 and add to 9? And that's difficult for some people. The answer is going to be 7 and 2. Now I know that because I've been doing this a long time, and I know my multiplication, my times tables, and all that, right? If you have trouble finding these numbers at the beginning, what I would do is get like a times table chart, and figure out what two numbers multiply to 14, look at them all, and try and find which pair will add to 9. So in my opinion, this right here, that's the hard part right there. You get those two numbers, everything else is easy, right? So that's the hardest part. So if you can get that, then you're good to go. But again, in this case, the two numbers are going to be 7 and 2. So because this is a simple trinomial, all I've got to do to factor this now is make a set of brackets. The first bracket is going to be x plus 7. You just take the number from the end over there. And the next bracket will be x plus 2. And that's it. It's factored, completely done. So let's check it. We're going to expand this out, and we'll double check this one. So we're going to go x plus 7 times x plus 2. And we're going to use FOIL to expand this thing. So FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. So I multiply the first together. So x times x, that's going to give me x squared. Then I'm going to do the outer ones, which is x times 2, which gives me 2x. Then I'm going to do the inner ones, which is 7 times x, which will give me 7x. And finally the last, 7 times 2, that's positive 14. Okay? So now, whenever you do FOIL, you generally have to add up your middle terms together. You're going to have some like terms there. So you're going to get x squared plus 9x plus 14. And there you go. So we know that this set of brackets is equal to this trinomial, so we did factor it correctly. So we know we're good. We got the same result as the beginning. Okay, let's try another example here. So example 2. So example 2, we're going to write x squared plus x minus 12. Okay, so I'm going to write MAN again. I need two numbers that will multiply to negative 12, and they're going to add to positive 1. So you're going to add to the middle number, right? The middle number is not written. In this case, it's a 1. It's in front of that x there. So if you think about it, x squared, it's like me writing 1x minus 12. So the middle number, there's nothing there. I'm going to put a 1. Okay, so what numbers are going to multiply to negative 12 and add to positive 1? So the answers are going to be 4 and negative 3. 4 times negative 3 will give me the negative 12, and 4 minus 3 will give me the positive 1. And again, if you have trouble finding those numbers out, you might need a times table chart or something, or trial and error in your calculator to solve those. But these are the two numbers that I need. So when I've got my numbers, my first bracket, I'm going to write x plus 4. It's just going to be whatever that letter is, x, and you just add the 4 with it. And the next one is going to be x minus 3. And that's it. That is completely factored. Okay, let's try another one here. Example 3. This time, let's do y instead. So it'll be y squared plus 7y minus 44. So just because I put a y instead of an x, it makes no difference. You treat it exactly the same way. So we're going to use MAN again. Multiply, add, and numbers. So this time, it's going to multiply to negative 44 and add to positive 7. This is going to be harder, right? We need to find two numbers that multiply to negative 44 and add to 7. And again, what you can do is you can do trial and error. You can go 44 divided by 2. That gives you 22, and you try and see if those work out. But I know the numbers are going to be 4 and 11. So 4 and 11 will definitely multiply to 44, right? But the problem is if I add those together, that's going to give me 15. So one of these has to be negative, right, in order to get a negative number right there. So it's going to be negative 4 and positive 11. So negative 4 times positive 11 gives me negative 44. And negative 4 plus 11 gives me 7. So it definitely, these are the two numbers here. Okay, so we know we got our numbers. So my first bracket is going to be y, because we're using y's instead. Y minus 4. Next one, y plus 11. And that's it. So this is factored now. Last example here. We're going to we'll go back to the x's again. X squared minus 11x plus 30. And again, we're using the MAN method. So we're going to multiply to 30 this time and add to negative 11. One hint you can have here is if you're going to add to a negative number, a lot of the times the two numbers you need to find here are both going to be negative. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about this. So what numbers will multiply to 30? We got 3 times 10, 2 times 15. None of these are going to actually add to 11 in any way, but 6 and 5 will. So 6 times 5 gives me the 30, right? And we got to make them both negative. So negative 6 times negative 5 will multiply to positive 30. And if you add them together, you get negative 11. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be x minus 6 and then x minus 5. And that's it. So we'll just double check the last one just to double check it. So expand again. And we're going to go x minus 6 times x minus 5. It's always a good idea to check these anyways. So if you're going to do FOIL on this, x times x gives me x squared. The outers, x times negative 5 is negative 5x. The inners is negative 6x. And the last is going to be positive 30 because negative 6 times negative 5 is positive 30. Finally, we're going to combine these middle numbers together, and you're going to get negative 11x plus 30. So there you go. I've given you 4 examples in how to factor simple trinomials. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you find it easy. Again, the most difficult part of this is getting these two numbers. This is the hard part right here. And sometimes if you don't know your times tables very well, it's just trial and error. And even for me, sometimes if I have a really huge number I've got to multiply to, like it's like 192 or something like that, I'm going to have to do trial and error with my calculator to solve these numbers. It's not the easiest thing in the world sometimes. So don't give up. You're going to find these numbers almost all of the time when you're working examples out like this. They're not going to be decimals. It's all going to be whole numbers. So it's going to work out well. If it doesn't work, then you have to do what's called a quadratic formula and things like that. But for simple trinomials like this, A lot of times it's just going to be regular numbers like that. And, again, hopefully you learned something, and this is how you can factor simple trinomials.